If you're watching this and the live up there is no longer there, I'm no longer live. I apologize for the squilling turner. Hey guys. Hey guys, hi Melissa, hi Jamie. We're gonna do a little playing, and I apologize, my turner is horribly loud. So, I've already got the cup ready. Waiting, I'd like that to stop making so much noise. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you how you can control micas in epoxy. If I don't shoot this first, we may go to the next one. Bear with me. I think that's what we're going to do because I don't want to listen to that thing squeal. It's going to drive me insane. So bear with me just a moment. I'm going to move my cup over by one and not have it squilling so much. There we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. Seriously. So, what I've done already is I put a very thin layer of epoxy on the cup. I'm doing a 20-ounce skinny. And I've already dropped alcohol inks onto it just because I didn't feel like spray painting. And with micas, if you don't paint the base in your epoxy, you will see the metal through. And if you paint it white, you'll see the white. So I tend to use alcohol inks in the colors. So I've already done that. What we're going to do is a mountain scene. And I do not claim to have invented this process. I watched someone else do it, Annika over in Tumblr tutorials. She kind of played wood painting with the mica on the cups, so I thought I'd show you. So we're going to do kind of a grassy with some mountains and sky scene. So I've mixed up some shamrock green for the grass, and you'll note it's a little thicker because we're going to use more of that. I used some, what is this? Crystal Lake for the sky. I'm going to do clouds because I already got inks on it. And I let that get thick. And then I've got sand, or nude, I'm sorry. And I've got it really thick. If you can see that. We're going to use that for part of the mountains. And I have mocha for the other part, and again I've mixed it real thick. So what, yeah, Troy, the glow powders, you can do one of two things. If you're using the glow powders, that's okay. If you use the glow powders and you want the entire cup to glow, it takes 2 coats and it takes quite a bit of glow powder. And you definitely want to paint your cup the color of the glow powder that you're using. So if you're using pink, paint it pink, etc. I also tried recently, I mixed it in Mod Podge, and then I put a opal glitter that had a pink tone to it. So I used pink to pink, and it does real well. You can see I don't have a bunch of splotches. Here in a little bit, I finally found my UV light, so I can help make it glow and show you how much it goes under there. So it's kind of, you got to kind of learn what works for you, but usually if I want the glow to be the entire cup, I use a heaping spoonful of one of these spoons that I send out. And again, I also paint the cup the same color. So then I also am going to do some flowers. Hi Sylvia. So I mixed a little bit of yellow to do some yellow, and I'm going to use my fingertips to do this. And I mixed another yellow so I can kind of layer them on top. No worries. Always feel free to message me if you have questions. And then I used tangerine also for flowers, and you'll see that it's real thick. Hey Susan. And I used pumpkin as another one. And then I used strawberry lemonade. And you'll see it's real thick. But I want it thick because I don't want the stuff moving. So that's the whole purpose of having it thick. You can control the mica, hi Debbie, by keeping it thick so that it doesn't travel. And since I was doing alcohol based, I went ahead and got it ready so that it would kind of thicken up and I didn't have to worry too much. So I'm going to move y'all down. Oops. I'm going to move you and bring you down. You can see the cup, it's a little dark. And I don't have, let's see. I need to get a little more light. I don't know if that helps. Not really. That helps a little bit. Okay. So this is green. And I did some brown here and some blue here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my green, and I'm not going to drizzle any of this. I'm going to use my fingers to do all this. So I'm going to add the green and go ahead and put, and it's going to mix with the ink that's already on there, and I'm fine with that because I want it to have a texture. And I made a little bit more green because I knew I was going to use more green. So all I'm doing is putting it on, adding it, and I'm going to take you off the tripod here in a minute and I'll show you what it's looked like, what it's done. Because it's, this is kind of new for me. Hopefully I don't bomb. But I've been wanting to experiment more with controlling the epoxy and what it does. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So hold on. This is going to be taking you guys off, putting you back on, just so you can see real good. Okay, so I used the Zig Ocean Green as my base for alcohol to give the bottom a color. And then I mixed this on, and you can see how it got nice different colors, and it's got really good depth. We're going to be adding flowers to this area. Next, we're going to do this brown area, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. So hold on. And I'm going to put you back in here. Hold on. Okay. Let me get you down where you can see it. There we go. So, I am not a great painter, but I am going to use my fingers, my tips of my fingers, to dab it on so that I can control it a little better. So I'm going to start with the nude, which is the lighter brown. I'm going to pick some up on my fingertip. I'm going to dot it because I want to give it mountains. But I wanted to do lighter mountains at the bottom and darker at top. So I'm kind of doing it as a triangle is what I'm doing. And I'm letting it get into the green. But because it's thicker, it's not going to move a whole lot. It will move some, but not a ton, and I'm not using a bunch. Keeping it fairly thin. Almost making like a tree with it. So there is the light brown. And I am going to use a baby wipe to wipe my finger off so that it's clean. And then I'm going to use the Mocha. That's the Mocha, the darker brown. I'm going to come in and I'm just, again, going to lightly get my finger. I'm going to go up. And obviously, because you're not actually painting, it's going to be more of an abstract-y kind of thing. And I'll take you off here in just a minute and let you see. I'm using the browns. I'm going in to give it some depth while trying to keep kind of a peak in some areas. It's doing what I want it to do, so I'm happy. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna wipe this off. Actually, I'm gonna take that glove off because I do not want to get powder or epoxy all over my phone. I've done that before. I'm gonna take you off here. I'm gonna turn it around. You can see where I've done mountains. So you can see the depth that I'm getting, and it's not moving a lot. So it's staying more along the lines of where I want it. So like a mountain peak. Okay. And then I'm going to do the clouds next. When I get done with the clouds is when I will start doing the flowers. And we'll see if I can mess it up. Feel free to ask questions. So I did Crystal Lake to use for the clouds. And these I'm going to try to do real lightly. I had the epoxy kind of pull away from here. And again, I have inks on here, so there's a layer of ink that it's kind of mixing with. Going down low. And I'm just randomly putting it places. I'm not doing anything fancy. Okay. I like how that did. So now we're going to try some flowers, and this should be interesting because I don't know if this is going to work real well. But we're going to try it. I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm going to do basically, I'm going to take and like do it in a circle to make petals, I hope. Maybe not. There we go. The yellow might not show up too well because of the green. So that was one of the yellows. I'm going to take this yellow, which has a little bit more. It's a little bit deeper yellow. And the idea was to do the colors, which I like how that one did, so that it kind of has a center with a different color. Okay, Now I'm going to use the orange and do a few more. So I'm trying to do it kind of like petals, but with it moving it's a little bit harder. And I have another orange to go around it because I wanted to give it a little bit of depth. So I'm going to come back around and help these out a little bit. So again, this is pretty thick. Notice it's really not dropping off my finger. I'm dabbing it on. So there's that one. And we're going to use this one next. This is the tangerine. So again, I'm just trying to give them a little bit of depth. I don't know that it's going to do it. We're going to try. Because what I can do after it's all dried is I can actually add in the stems to show the flowers. Okay, and then last is the strawberry lemonade. I'm going to show you. It's not really dripping off. So it's pretty thick. Alright, now I've basically added all the colors. Hi Cindy. So, these are the flowers, and I'll be able to go in when it's dry and kind of do a stem. But see how it... But they're going to stay pretty much where I put them. Here I added. So I can always go back in with a fine black marker and kind of define petals, which I think is what I'll do. Then here's the mountains. And then we go in and there's clouds. And I can also go back in when it's done and add a little bit more like white to define things. So here's the grass. You can see. I love how that worked. It gave it really good depth. And then those are the flowers, and I think I'll go back in and make petals so it'll look more like flowers. And here's the mountains. I may draw some lines in there to kind of show that. Still no comments on your iPad. That's not good. And then the clouds. I just took that and kind of dabbed it so it's not such a line. So, but that's how you can, if you use the thicker epoxy, use more of it. What I did is I didn't use very much epoxy at all. So you want it thick. So y'all, most of you saw my fall swirl I did with the micas and the glitters. That's how I did it, is I kept the mica real thick. And that way it didn't do more of a flow, it kept it a swirl. So, not perfect, but you kind of get the idea. Let me move you back around. So does anyone have any questions? That's basically it. I'm just left. See how thick it is? There's the green. But that's the... Yeah, I like how the inks do that. I was lazy one day doing something and I did that, and I really liked how it worked. You can see how thick the stuff is. But that's the key to being able to control what your epoxy and mica does. If you do it thick, then you have better control over it. So, it didn't take very much epoxy. I used about a half a medicine of both, if that. So, you can see, it's just real thick. There's still epoxy in there. You can see on the outside, see where the line is? There's still epoxy in it. But it's super thick. So that's the reason, that's how you can control what the epoxy does. Is by either mixing it thick, or you can also, you can get it ready and then let it sit for about 15 minutes so it starts thickening up in general. I didn't have the patience to do that. So, and I just used Pebble for the mountains because I wanted it light enough it would show through but not be so dark on the lighter epoxy or the lighter mica. And then I used Stone Washed on the sky. And then the green, this is Zig Cure Colors, which is also alcohol inks. So, and I did, let's see if I can find them. Here. Oh, I'll bet they're down below. That's what we did here, is you can see where I used the alcohol inks as my base, and then we drizzled micas and glow powders, etc. So, going back to you, Troy. Hold on a second, and I'm going to get it a little bit darker in here. And then I'm going to show you the cup with the glow powder mixed in the Mod Podge. Now that I finally have found my light. So, bear with me for a moment. So, I'm gonna do this. And see, you can kind of see how it glows. Let me turn this off. There we go. Let me get it a little darker. This is one layer of Mod Podge, and then the glitter, which is an opal. Hi, Amy. And see how it's glowing? It does a real good. It's hard to get it in here. It's not really dark enough. But you can see, like right here, when I light it up. And I was just experimenting with this. You can also use the Mod Podge. That glows pretty good. You could do the Mod Podge and do 2 coats of the Mod Podge before you do anything else as well. But yeah, I generally recommend 2 coats to get a good glow. So, but yeah, 2 coats of it mixed in epoxy. I use, if you're doing a 30 ounce, I pretty much use a half a medicine cup of each, regardless, because I would rather have to have extra than not enough. So I just use a half of one of each, or close to a half. I don't really measure. You'll be doing a 20 ounce. Yeah, that'll be plenty for each one. So you want it, the trick is you want enough epoxy on it that it's not going to get streaky. So you don't want to be, you know, cheap on the epoxy. Go ahead and make enough that you can get a real good thick coat on. So for one, if I'm doing 1 tumbler, I will use a half for each side. If I'm doing 2 tumblers, I use a full of each side. And then I'll use it to make different things. Any extra I have. These are going to become keychains. It's just a mold I have. So don't be afraid to use enough epoxy when you're doing it, because you don't want it streaky. No worries. Alright guys, it's Friday night and we're down kind of low to 5 people, so I'm going to go ahead and get off. If you came in late, you can go back and rewatch. I just showed how you can control the micas and epoxy better. Hi Betty. By keeping them real thick when you use them, and then they don't go all over the place. So I will once more just quickly show you what we did. There's what we did. May look a little funky at the moment, but those are going to be flowers. I'm going to hand draw with black the petals. And then this is mountains. And I'll add black and some detail in. And then clouds, and I'll probably add some white in to the clouds. So, and I may add some extra because I didn't get that real good. So, that's what we did. And I had green ink. So when I added, it was still wet. When I added the mica, it did all that really gorgeous. I'm going to have to do a cup like that. It was really pretty. It gives it a lot of depth. So, tomorrow when it's dry, or when it's cured, I'll draw on it, and then I'll take pictures and post so that everyone can see. And I'll be live tomorrow doing more things with micas. Going to do some more cosmetic stuff and what have you. And I'm going to experiment with something that if it works, I'll show you. An idea I had because I spilled some stuff, and I think it's going to be cool. So everyone have a good evening, and I will be live again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.